Here we go again. My shirt and my sweater are the exact same. Hello, everybody. Today is the last day to vote in California's recall election for Gavin Newsom. And I am afraid that I know how this story is going to end. And this is one of these times where I really hope I'm wrong. But wow, they are setting this up for a Trump versus Joe Biden part 2 kind of situation, if you know what I mean. Because if you haven't figured it out by now, it's not about who you vote for. It's actually all about who's counting the votes. Let's get into why I'm saying this, and I'm praying that I'm wrong. Oh boy, I'm going to start off with a source that I have never used before, the Los Angeles Blade, Southern California's LGBTQ news source. It's fun to do a little debunking every now and again. Right-wing media already crying foul on the California recall. Here to debunk the debunkers. Gay conservative Richard Gurnell is calling for people to catalog supposed instances of voter fraud in the recall election on his website. First of all, this sentence, I would just say Richard Gurnell or conservative Richard Gurnell. I wouldn't have thrown the gay in there, but that's neither here nor there. Basically, they're upset because Republicans don't like what's going on with all of the shady and questionable things that we've been seeing coming down the pike. All right, first they point to right-wing figures are claiming that California's ballot design will lead to fraud. On August 19th, Gurnell shared a video of a California voter claiming that holes punched in the mail-in ballot envelopes allowed ballot handlers to identify yes votes on the ballot's central question of whether they wanted to remove Newsom. The person in the video made a bogus claim that the envelope design is sketchy and can be used to tamper with the yes votes. Let's check the video.
Make sure that you put yes. That means that yes, you want Gavin Newsom to lose his job. The next thing you're gonna check is who you're going to vote for to replace him. I am going to vote for Larry Elder, and his box is on the back of the page. I think that it is important that we unite around one candidate, but like I said, the most important thing is that we get him out. This is the sketchy part. This is the crazy part. So when you fold up your ballot, more than likely, it seems natural, you're just gonna slip this in. But you have to pay attention to these 2 holes that are in the front of the envelope. You can see if someone from the outside of the mail-in ballot, you can see if somebody has voted yes to recall Newsom. This is very sketchy and irresponsible, in my opinion. But this is asking for fraud. So anybody that has access to this mail-in envelope can see who's voted yes, toss it, do whatever they want to it. They can see your vote from the outside of the envelope. So when you're doing this, make sure you line up your ballot on the inside of the envelope so that your vote is not visible. I think that's important. And if you can share this information, thanks.
So note here that when you fold it naturally, the way that, 99.9% of the population would fold it because it's facing forward, when you do that, you can see how somebody voted.
This is the sketchy part. This is the crazy part. So when you fold up your ballot, more than likely, it seems...
Right, because that's the front. Each county has a different way that they are printing these ballots out. But this is a huge problem. There is no excuse for doing something like this, for making it so that people can see how you voted, like through the envelope. Oh, okay. Let's see how the Blaze defends this. The person in the video made the bogus claim that the envelope is sketchy and can be used to tamper with yes votes. Except I'm not seeing how this is a bogus claim. We all saw what just happened. There's no bogus stuff going on here. That's actually what happened. A bogus claim would be if she put the envelope or the ballot into the envelope and then you couldn't see how somebody voted. That would actually be a bogus claim. Next, in reality, the holes in question are a tactile way for the visually impaired to locate the ballot's envelope's signature line. They also act as a visual aid for election officials to quickly identify if an uncounted ballot has been left in an envelope. Additionally, each county in California designs its own ballot. So the fact that a ballot in one county lines up with the envelope holes when folded one very particular way is hardly evidence of fraud. Katie, bar the door. Okay, hold on here. Hold on. This is so ridiculous. So if the lines are there or the holes are there to act as a visual aid for election officials, I think that's great. But you don't put the holes where you can see how somebody voted, unless you're inviting fraud. Sure, you can put holes there to help visually impaired people. But once again, you don't put them in a place where you can see how somebody voted. Why is this such a difficult thing for somebody to grasp? This is insanity. 3 things can be true all at the same time. It can be for election officials. It can be for the visually impaired. But at the same time, you can see how somebody voted. But the fact that the ballot holes controversy was easily debunked. Wait, how? How? You didn't debunk it. You did not show, like, what? Excuse me, the way you didn't debunk anything. You didn't even come close to debunking the stuff. Like, what are you talking about? The only way to debunk this would be for you to take that ballot, put it in an envelope, and show that you can't see somebody's vote. If you didn't do that, then nothing was debunked. Sorry, guys, I'm a little more worked up today than I normally am. I don't know. I guess just something is just, I don't know. I'm just going through some things. I'm feeling some things. I'm sure everybody else is, though, because things are just getting more and more insane. But the fact that the ballot holes controversy was easily debunked didn't stop right-wing media figures from running with the narrative. Okay, yep, they're going to note that Michael Knowles said something about it, blah, blah, blah. Right-leaning media outlets are vilifying the state's accessible voting system. In early August, right-wing media seized on a voting feature, remote access vote by mail, that allows some disabled voters to fill out their ballots online and print them at home. Oh my God. Wait, like, this is a thing? We're not going to have watermarks and things that we normally do to have election integrity and to make sure that everything is fair. You just flush that down the toilet. Let me tell you something. Having a disability doesn't mean that you can't have a normal ballot sent to you in the mail. What in the world? What in the world? Let me try to be fair. Okay, let me try to be fair. Let me play. Maybe I can try to play a little bit of devil's advocate on this point here, where I can say, okay, let's say this is all just an innocent mistake. Of course it's not. But if I try to give somebody the benefit of the doubt, you know what? I can't. You know what? Forget it. Let's just keep going. I can't, because obvious fraud is obvious fraud. The system isn't used widely and limits each user to printing one ballot, and the voters' choices are also transferred to the ballot, and both documents are stored together for a post-election audit. But conservatives spent the last month billing the system as a tool California Democrats would use to rig the recall election. Maybe it's because it's a tool for the Democrats to rig the California election. On August 9th, right-wing website Red State published an article that describes the remote voting feature as a scheme concocted by crazy California Democrats to cheat on elections. The same day, One American News Network host Natalie Harp cast doubt on the home printed ballot program for disabled voters, asking, how does California define what's a disability? The Newsmax host Grant Stinchfield fearmongered about California's remote voting program, asking his audience, can you imagine if we start printing our own ballots? our elections would be lawless. Can you imagine if we don't go after voter fraud? We have to. Stinchfield's segment also cited the ballot holes video mentioned above as additional evidence of widespread voter fraud. Right-wing media are misleading, amplifying an incident of mail theft as stealing votes. On August 23rd, news stations reported that police in Torrance, California found 300 unopened mail-in ballots for the recall election in a car parked outside of 7-Eleven with a sleeping man, a bunch of other mail, a gun, and drugs. While one might reasonably assume that the ballots were incidentally taken along with the thousands of other pieces of stolen mail, well, perhaps you might incidentally assume that, but I don't put anything past the Democrat corrupt, horrible uniparty. No, I don't put anything past them, but okay, you can assume that ballots were incidentally taken, and I got a bridge that I'd like to sell you as well. How about that? While one might reasonably assume that the ballots were incidentally taken along with the thousands of other pieces of stolen mail, right-wing media immediately jumped into the conclusion that it was clear evidence of widespread fraud. On Facebook, Fox News' social media headline read, "Stealing votes. Hundreds of California recall ballots, drugs, and loaded gun found in passed out felon's car. Police." You know what's funny, though, is that a lot of left-wing media had a lot of really similar titles. ABC 10, passed out man found with 300 California recall ballots. ABC 7, Torrance police find 300 open recall ballots. LA Times, Torrance police find 300 recall ballots in suspect's car. Yahoo, police investigate recovery of 300 California ballots. I could go on and on. I don't think I need to, though. It's not Fox News. It's basically what everybody ran with. So I guess they're saying, yeah, Larry Elder responded, "As you know, you can now print your own ballot here in California. What could possibly go wrong?" That's why we have a battery of lawyers watching all of this. We're watching them, but I wouldn't put it past them. See, when you can print your own ballots and we have these dirty voter rolls, anyone from anywhere can just print up anything. People of every political persuasion need to understand that when you have dirty voter rolls, so you have like dead people voting and people who don't live in these houses anymore and people who are registered that live in abandoned lots and at the mall. If your chosen candidate wins, all your opposition would have to do, whoever is in power, all they would have to do is just wait until it starts to look like the chosen candidate of the uniparty isn't winning. They can just go and just start printing out random ballots, and there will be no way to prove that they're illegitimate because they don't have the watermarks. They don't have the serial numbers. Whether you're right or left or center or whatever, this should be a huge concern for you. Is it possible that this guy is just a guy who steals mail and happened to come across the ballots incidentally? I mean, I guess anything's possible, but with all these other things that are wrong, that are obvious signs of people having the ability to do nefarious things, I'm gonna lean more towards this is evidence of things that we don't want to see. It's gonna be 2020 2.0. But just because it may be 2020 2.0, that doesn't mean don't vote. I want to get this video published for my people who are in California. And I want to tell you, I can't tell you enough, actually, please vote. For the love of everything sacred, please go and vote. Because what we need, I know I have to tell you the truth about what's going on, but we need to force them to break the algorithms again. We need to force them to have to shut down the vote counting and all that. If we can do that, then it just forces things to be more out in the open, to be more obvious, and to make it harder for people to deny what's going on. Right-wing actors highlight an Associated Press story about election fraud without giving context. Now they're saying on September 2nd, the Associated Press reported that a group of cybersecurity experts sent a letter to California's Secretary of State calling for an audit of the state's election because unauthorized system images had been released at a right-wing voter fraud conference hosted by, I'm not even going to read that part, by Mike Lindell. He's not been disgraced. I don't even know what these people are talking about. They are disgusting. Yeah, and now they're trying to say, oh, none of them mentioned that the experts were calling for an audit because right-wing activists had triggered a security threat. Dude, whatever. I don't even care. You can say it was right-wing people and not cheating by leftists. Let's have an audit. Okay, if that's really your argument, I would say we have nothing to hide. Let's do it. And what's your response going to be to that? No, please, anything but that. Never look at anything. Please. Let's do audits every day, all day. Let's do them in all 50 states. I don't think that we have anything to hide. Can you say the same? And actually, no, they can't, because if they didn't have anything to hide, they wouldn't be screaming and crying and clawing their faces. Like, no audits ever, please. Nope. I want maximum transparency. And I believe that most people do as well. Yes. So of course, this was this debunking, fact-checking article is about as useful and effective as any other debunking and fact-checking article, meaning that they didn't debunk or really fact-check anything. All they did was come up with a bunch of like really pathetic excuses that a fourth grader could destroy in the first debate that they ever have in their little debate class. This is terrible. And maybe you could say that the 300 ballots being stolen, maybe you could say, oh, maybe that's a coincidence. And maybe making it and maybe designing the ballots so you could see how people voted, maybe that's a coincidence. Well, folks, prepare for more coincidences. How convenient is this? The fold goes right through Larry Elder's name on the recall ballot, which the machine can misread and send to adjudication. You've got to be kidding me. There you go. And so now manually somebody's going to have to figure out who they meant to vote for. That's a little, that's too much. That's too much. And I see some people trying to say that, oh, well, they rotate the names through. Well, if you weren't trying to be a bad actor, and you already know, because we already know that the machines have issues reading things on the fold, then you wouldn't put anyone on the fold now, would you? But still, it's not enough. Republicans in Southern California have trouble casting recall ballots. Many have been told they already voted, even though they didn't.
What happened today and how shocked are you?
Very. I went to El Camino High School to vote, got there at 10:30, gave her this, and she scanned it and said, "You voted." And I said, "No, I haven't." And she said, "This has been happening all morning." The man next to me was arguing the same thing. So as I left, I did the provisional ballot and left. I was just really angry. And I saw two women walking toward me as I left. And I said, "Don't be surprised if they tell you you've already voted." And she said, "They've already done that." If I voted, how did I vote?
And who did you vote for?
Good question.
Well, I asked the couple, the young women that I talked to, and I said, "Are you by any chance Republicans?" She said, "Yes." And I said, "Well, so am I. And so are the two friends that had the problem at VFW." So.
Makes you suspicious.
I would think so. And still, I'd like to know how I voted.
Wouldn't we all? How did she vote?
All right, take a look. The LA County Registrar's Office released a statement tonight following our inquiries. A spokesman says the voters who experienced this issue were offered and provided a provisional ballot, the fail-safe option to ensure no one is turned away from voting. Provisional ballots are regular ballots, and once the eligibility of the voter is verified, they are processed and counted. After troubleshooting the issue, the equipment at the locations was replaced and voting continued. We'll have more throughout the night. For now, reporting live in Woodland Hills, I'm Chris Wolf, KTLA 5 News.
The question then becomes, how many people that weren't there, that didn't go in person, how many of their votes were already pre-voted? This is why you have to go in. You can't just let them get away with this. I have an article from Wayne Root. First, millions of people who have immigrated illegally are voting in California. When they get their driver's licenses at the Department of Motor Vehicles, they are automatically registered to vote. By law, no one is allowed to ask if they are a citizen. No one can ask for valid ID. Millions of such voters tip the scale for failed socialist Democrats in California. It's pretty simple. They vote for the party that won't deport them and will keep the welfare checks coming from cradle to grave. Second, California has sent out tens of millions of mail-in ballots. Just like the presidential election of 2020, there is no way to know who's who. There's no voter ID. There's no chain of custody. There's no signature verification. There is nothing but millions of fake ballots signed with fake names. Just one of my fans has received 16 ballots at his California home. He lives there with only his wife and 2 kids. Sorry, Larry, Democrats and their flood of fake ballots will never allow you to win this 1/3. California allows anyone to print out their own ballots on their home computer. That's pure insanity. Let me back up and say, I don't think it's everyone. I think it's people who say they're disabled, but who says what disabled is? Who knows? I have no idea what the criteria for that are. Maybe if you guys know, you can let me know in the comment section below, but I'm just one person. I can't research everything. I've done a lot of research for this video though, but just not that. Fourth, California has ballot harvesting. Anyone can collect thousands of fake ballots, fill them out and hand them in. Democrats have perfected this art. Lastly, the actual ballots were designed with a flaw. You must fold the ballot to mail it in. Computers that scan the votes often auto-cancel the name on the fold. Guess whose name is on the fold out of the 46 candidates? It's Larry Elder. What a coincidence. What a shocker. So I'm rooting for you, Larry. I know you'd make a great governor, but sadly, I know it won't matter. The question is, when will conservative patriots wake up and do something about it? I don't know, folks. I don't know. It feels like everybody is waiting for somebody else to do something. A lot of people are afraid of being canceled and losing their jobs. And yeah, I guess those are legitimate fears. But let me tell you something, what they have coming, what they have planned later, what's coming down the pike for everybody is way more scary than this. Looks like one of the things that you can do is to, I guess we're trying to do here what happened after the 2020, which is just, I guess we have Richard Grinnell here with Fix California. It's asking voters to share examples of voter fraud. So what, we can go back to more lawsuits and more audits and just try to have a peaceful resolution to this kind of stuff, or you're fighting Democrat and uniparty appointed judges. But yeah, this is Rick Grinnell's group here. They asked Californians to go to http://fixcalifornia.com. I guess we got to do something. You can't roll over and die. Everybody, please, 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 please make sure you go out and vote. Vote, 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 vote. I'm pretty sure this is going to be a Biden Trump 2.0. But like I said earlier, if they're going to do this, make them do it in a way that is just embarrassing and humiliating and beyond obvious. Force them to break the algorithms, force them to just have to be like so out in the open with their corruption that it is close to being undeniable. We have to keep fighting. This is not a time to give up. This is not the time to say, don't vote. It's not the time to be apathetic. We are going to keep fighting this. We have to, that we have no other choice.
Hey guys, thanks for watching. If you like this video, subscribe, give it a thumbs up, and please share it. You can help us continue to fight in the war against disinformation by donating at paypal.me/KTLA5. YouTube.com/Right Left of Center. I'm River Wright from Right Left of Center, and if you're watching, you're probably right too.